Matthew Barker with a deep kick to start this first half of the Iowa Central versus St. John's championship final for the Minnesota Tier 1 Rugby Championship. Early penalty committed by Iowa Central. St. John's is going to elect to kick downfield, gain a little territory. It's going to be a line out to St. John's. Iowa Central is wearing the white with blue down the side today, and St. John's is wearing the red and blue. For this first half, St. John's will be attacking from right to left. Iowa Central will be attacking from left to right. St. John's with a good line out into a maul, but that maul's not moving anywhere. Oh, I lied. They got it spun out. Eventually that maul was brought down. St. John's was able to dig that ball out of there. Looks like an offsides call against Iowa Central. It's going to be another penalty awarded to St. John's. Looks like there's actually a player down for St. John's. He's right on the sideline, but he is in the field of play, so we're going to attend to him, make sure he is safe. Player safety is always the #1 concern in any match, regardless of the team that the player is for. So let's hope that he's okay on that. It's being tended to by the high-quality trainers provided for this tournament. All right, he is able to get up on his own accord, so that is always a good thing. And he's got to return to gameplay. I'm not sure if that was a cramp or something. He seems to be walking it off just fine, so that's good. St. John's kick for touch. Got it to about a couple meters into the Iowa Central territory. Will be a St. John's line out. St. John's with the mishandle, but it did go straight backwards, so play continues on. Another mishandle, also backwards. Eventually it is settled into a ruck. Great defense. That looked like Jabari Leopold with the strong tackle right off the ruck there. Okay, another offsides call. Another penalty, another kick for touch, another line out to St. John's here. Strongly contested by Elliott Finn there, but that ball did go to the St. John's side, and they're spinning it down their back line. St. John's is going with the pick and go attack style right now. Spun out to the Looked like to the fly half and then offloaded to the tight head prop there. That one's out to the fly half again, but did not go very far. Wrap around the legs and a big hit up top. I'm not sure what the call was there. Oh. Sir saw something he didn't like. He's talking to the captain for Iowa Central right now and a player for the Tritons. Clearing something up they disagreed with. And it's going to be a penalty to St. John's. I'd imagine they're going to kick for touch again.
Let's get there.
Gonna be another St. John's line out. About the 35-meter mark in Iowa Central territory. Strongly contested. And that ball was won by Iowa Central. Iowa Central, for the first time today, is going to be on offense. That ball was carried in strongly by Victor Wong there. Penalty against St. John's. Awarded to Iowa Central. I'd imagine Matthew Barker is going to put the boot to this ball and dig him out of some territory here. Strong kick by Matthew Barker. Well out of bounds. It's going to be a line out to the Tritons in St. John's territory. Victor Wong with the throw. The ball was intended for Vanya Sturm. Zachary Schott slapped it back to the scrum half, Richard Felton. We got that ball out to some forwards. Nathan Heath running the ball strong. Bull in a china shop, just rambling down the field here. That's another strong, powerful run for him. That's Isaiah Faliuka. Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. That was Kamani McQueen. Didn't appear to be held down. Sir called him held down, and he got back up and ran with it. So it's going to be a penalty awarded to St. John's. Another line out to St. John's. Another front lift for St. John's. Another ball well contested by Elliott Finn. He eventually scooped up by the tight head prop in the front of the line for St. John's. That was a great open field tackle by Mike Wilden. Scooped up and taken into contact. Settled. That ball was carried in by Victor Wong. An attempted kick downfield, mishandled. Appears it's going to be a penalty awarded to St. John's. I'd imagine they're going to stick to the standard kick for touch, gain some territory, and a line-out opportunity. That kick did reach touch. We're going to have a line out awarded to St. John's here. Another throw to the front, another well-contested line out. St. John's did retrieve that one. There was a ball that appeared to be a knock-on. Sir said no, straight back. Play on. Team tackle by Zachary Schott and Kamani McQueen. Logan Atkinson going low on the big man for a strong tackle. Arguably the largest man on the field for the tight head, or the loose head of St. John's against one of the smallest men on the field, the winger for Iowa Central. And that was a great contact, no fear in the tackle, put him down, created a knock-on, and it's gonna be a scrum down to Iowa Central here. Good strong push by the Tritons. Ani Mateo with his first touch of the day runs it downfield, gets a great offload to Ben Holman, who takes that for another 20 meters or so. Strong pressure defense by St. John's, but Iowa Central is not phased, and they put in the first score of the day. That looked like Elliott Finn with the first try for the day. 5-0, Triton have the upper hand currently. Matthew Barker is going to start off the day with kicking duties. A great boot by Matthew Barker from wide on the pitch. Puts 2 up on the board for the Tritons. We got a 7-0 advantage, Iowa Central. That ball was fielded well by Victor Wong, and he managed to stay inbounds long enough to settle that. Good dummy pass by Matthew Barker, and he's going to show his wheels right now. Nice strong juke. A terrific run. Terrific run downfield, a great offload to Ani Mateo that the Sir, who was about 20 meters behind that, called a forward pass. So we're gonna have a scrum down to St. John's. That try will not be counted. Okay. Scrum down to St. John's. deep in their own territory. I'd imagine if St. John's does win this scrum, there will be a kick to try to get out of their own area. And they do win the scrum, and there's the boot. From within the 22, goes into touch. It'll be a line out to Iowa Central. A great throw from Victor Wong into the hands of Vanya Sturm, to Richard Felton, to Matt Barker, to Anya Mateto, who heads the ball slapped out of his hands. It's going to be a knock-on. Scrum down to St. John's. Yet another discussion with the Iowa Central captain, between the ref and the captain. But we're back to gameplay. Scrum down St. John's. Iowa Central is contesting well on this one, but not actually sure what came of that. St. John's did recover. Iowa Central just gained possession through strong goal line defense. Oh, that ball was a little high out to Jabari Leopold, who caught it but got smacked right away by the St. John's defense. There's some penalty. Not releasing on Iowa Central of some sort. That ball was attempted to kick for touch. It did not make it out. Mike Wilden actually kept that in. There was a knock on by Zachary Schott. It's going to be a scrum down to St. John's. Another strong push by the Tritons. But that ball was able to be pulled out of the back of the St. John's scrum. Okay, apparently a high tackle on Vanya Sturm. Another attempted kick for touch, unsuccessful. Kept in by Richard Felton, who offloaded to Nathan Heath, who's a man on a mission when he gets the ball in his hands. Kamani McQueen with another strong tackle, breaking the first one. Another knock-on called. St. John's scrum. 8-man pick by St. John's. Quickly scooped up, but offloaded to the scrum half. And a strong hit in the backfield of the St. John's. Scrum down awarded to Iowa Central. That ball came out very quickly. That ball is eventually landed out of bounds after a missed pass. It's taken quickly by St. John's. Let's do another knock on. It's going to be a scrum down awarded to Iowa Central. Great awareness by Ani Mateto to make that tackle and create disruption.
Fine. Set. Hold the push. Hold it. Stop.
Sir called the scrum dead for an early push. Gonna be a re-scrum to Iowa Central again.
Fine. Set. Hey, 8 minutes, head up.
That tackle was extremely high, but not called, so we're gonna play on. That's a great open field effort by the St. John's player. Ani Mateto taking that into contact with a great offload to Jabari Leopold, who takes it for another 15 to 20 meters. Elliott Finn breaking the gain line in the open field. Victor Wong, prop on the outside. Great awareness, gets it to the open. Matthew Barker, who cuts back in for an inside juke. And another try for the Tritons. That one dotted down by Matthew Barker with the assist of Victor Wong. We're currently at 12-0, Triton lead. Pending conversion attempt by Matthew Barker. A nice kick by Matthew Barker straight down the center. No question about that one. 14-0, Triton lead. Another line drive on the kickoff, taken cleanly by Vanya Sturm. That ball got out to Elliott Finn. Richard Fellon with a nice long pass to Matthew Barker, who sends it one down the line Scooped up by Ani Mateto in the open field. Offloaded back on the inside to Ben Holman, who knocked that one forward. It's going to be a scrum down to St. John's. Big push by the Tritons, but that ball was dug out successfully by St. John's. Good open field tackle by Mike Wilden. Creating some disruption. It's going to be a scrum down to Iowa Central after the knock-on. Good scrum down by the Tritons. Got out to Matthew Barker, got it to Ani Mateto, who got it back to Matthew Barker. And that ball is now in the hands of Logan Atkinson, who's taking it strong into contact. Nathan Heath. Thank you. Try awarded. Nathan Heath, the big man. A little friendly chatter from players on both teams. Matthew Barker with the kick attempt. Another perfect slot, 21-0. Great kick by Matthew Barker there. If consistency is anything, St. John's player will kick to the near side of the field with a bit of a line drive. Oh, that ball actually went a lot higher. Well taken by the St. John's player. That was the number 7 for St. John's, taking that one out of the air. Good strong run by the St. John's player. Knock on by the St. John's player just after the penalty advantage died off. It is going to be a scrum down awarded to Iowa Central.
fight.
A great strong kick. Perfect placement by the scrum half for Iowa Central, Richard Felton, from behind the 22, kicked it all the way down, bounced just outside of the 40, and dribbled its way into touch. It's gonna be a line out to St. John's, but that boot saved about 40 plus meters of the field for Iowa Central. That ball was thrown to the front lifter again for St. John's. It did miss, however. But they did scoop it up in the back of the line out. Apparently, Iowa Central didn't release. We have an injured player. After a very, very late away from the ball contact on the number 6 for Iowa Central by a St. John's player, the sir's having a talk with number 3 for Iowa Central, Victor Wong, about his comment. Apparently, the late hit didn't warrant anything. Anyways, hopefully Vanya Sturm is doing okay. He's up, he's moving, he's a tough kid. I can't see him walking out of this match unless he's carried off. All right, back to gameplay. Original call was a penalty awarded to St. John's. I'd imagine they're probably going to that ball is successfully kicked into touch. It'll be a line out to St. John's. Another lift to the front for St. John's, strongly contested again, but was successfully retrieved by St. John's and then poached by Iowa Central. Good strong run by Zachary Schott. Picked by the scrum half, take it to the weak side. I apologize. Richard Felton with a great run downfield. Gonna be a diving over penalty against Iowa Central. St. John kicks it into the touch. Line out to St. John's. Another line out, well contested by Iowa Central. Vanya Sturm with a great effort in the air. Oh my. Okay. A ruck well established. Apparently it was diving over. Very, very late diving over, even after it was settled. Penalty to St. John's. Another talk with the captain. Another kick for touch after another penalty awarded to St. John's. It's going to be another line out to St. John's. Another line out, well contested, but that one was successfully brought down by St. John's, and they are attempting a maul. Another penalty advantage to St. John's, this time for coming in from the side on the maul. Mike Wilden with a great open field tackle on the far side. Matthew Barker getting his hands dirty on defense, making some great strong tackles. He's fired up right now. Penalty awarded to Iowa Central. The penalty was awarded to Iowa Central because the St. John's player grabbed an Iowa Central player pretty much in a headlock. It's hard to see through all the players, but that is what it takes to get a penalty there. We're gonna have a line out to Iowa Central after the kick for touch. Iowa Central line out. A nice deep throw, swatted back by Kamani McQueen. Strong boot by Matthew Barker. And that's bouncing around in the center of the field. That's scooped up by Mike Wilden. I don't know what the call was. I don't have a clue. It's halftime though. 21-0. Triton have the lead at the half. I don't know. All right, it's halftime. Matthew Barker with a deep kick to start this first half of the Iowa Central versus St. John's championship final for the Minnesota Tier 1 Rugby Championship. Early penalty committed by Iowa Central. St. John's is going to elect to kick downfield, gain a little territory. It's going to be a line out to St. John's. Iowa Central is wearing the white with blue down the side today, and St. John's is wearing the red and blue. For this first half, St. John's will be attacking from right to left. Iowa Central will be attacking from left to right. St. John's with a good line out into a maul, but that maul's not moving anywhere. Oh, I lied. They got it spun out. Eventually that maul was brought down. St. John's was able to dig that ball out of there. Looks like an offsides call against Iowa Central. It's going to be another penalty awarded to St. John's. Looks like there's actually a player down for St. John's. He's right on the sideline, but he is in the field of play, so we're going to attend to him, make sure he is safe. Player safety is always the #1 concern in any match, regardless of the team that the player is for. So let's hope that he's okay on that. It's being tended to by the high-quality trainers provided for this tournament. All right, he is able to get up on his own accord, so that is always a good thing. And he's got to return to gameplay. I'm not sure if that was a cramp or something. He seems to be walking it off just fine, so that's good. St. John's kick for touch. Got it to about a couple meters into the Iowa Central territory. Will be a St. John's line out. St. John's with a mishandle, but it did go straight backwards, so play continues on. Another mishandle, also backwards. Eventually it is settled into a ruck. Great defense. That looked like Jabari Leopold with the strong tackle right off the ruck there. Okay, another offsides call. Another penalty, another kick for touch, another line out to St. John's here. Strongly contested by Elliott Finn there, but that ball did go to the St. John's side, and they're spinning it down their back line. St. John's is Welcome back. We're in the second half of the Minnesota Rugby Union Tier 1 Inscro Champions Cup final for the conference here. Again, we have St. John's University in the red and blue, Iowa Central Community College, Triton Rugby in the white and navy. We do have a 21-0 halftime. At the half, it was 21-0, Iowa Central lead. And this is the beginning of the second half. A line drive by St. John's, dribbled underneath about 7 players' legs before it eventually went out of bounds without being touched. Will be an Iowa Central line out from just about the 35-meter line in their own territory. Victor Wong with the throw just over Vanya Sturm's head. Scooped up by Richard Felton. Appears to be an obstruction call. And then another penalty for something else tacked on there. Not entirely sure what it was. But it's going to be St. John's ball. They kicked for touch. Ball traveled about 3.5 meters. It's going to be sitting about the 24, 25-meter line of Iowa Central. Line out to St. John's. That ball was well contested by the Triton, scooped up by the hooker, and attacked by Nathan Heath, a big man. He got up, tried to push that ball right away, not releasing penalty against St. John's. It's going to be a penalty awarded to Iowa Central. Matthew Barker with the boot. Gets it near midway. Iowa Central line out. A miscue on the line out. Slap backwards by St. John's. Sir says play on. Good strong goal line defense by Nathan Heath with the tackle there. Big tackle by the hooker. I believe that was Connor Luttrell making his presence known. It's going to be a high tackle. High tackle against Jabari Leopold. They tapped and went quickly. First contact was made not 10 meters. The first contact made by the defense was made within 10 meters of the mark. Therefore, is another penalty awarded to St. John's. They're going to kick for touch. That ball was almost kept in by the Tritons. Not quite, though. Within the 22 of Iowa Central here. Well stolen by Vanya Sturm. And a big boot by Matthew Barker, kept in by the St. John's player. Kick returned. mark called by Richard Felton, and then he tapped and went quickly. A sneaky little trick there. That ball is out in the open field by Ani Mateto. Booted high. Recovered by the St. John's player, and then he was swarmed by Ani Mateto. Good pressure defense. Led to a miscue in the passing. It was scooped up by St. John's. Victor Wong with a massive hit on the ruck. And that ball was stolen and picked and taken by Kamani McQueen. Jabari Leopold took that one into contact. Didn't appear to be held down, but the serve says he was. He got up, he tried to run. That's going to be a penalty awarded to St. John's again. Line out to St. John's, just outside of the 22. Well contested by Vanya Sturm again, but that ball was brought down. A great ruck through by Victor Wong just to let his presence known. Another penalty advantage given to St. John's. Oh no, not sure what the call was, to be honest there. It looked like a straight arm. Either way, the result is a scrum down to St. John's inside their 22. A great scrum by the Tritons, stolen, picked by Richard Felton, who felt the presence of the other scrum half immediately. That ball was picked out of there by Clayton Goddard. That was a clear violation, a hands in the ruck by the St. John's player, but they're having a discussion with the white captain for the Tritons. I'm not sure what the call is. Okay, so regardless of the violation by St. John's player, apparently there was chatter by Iowa Central. It's going to be a scrum to Iowa Central as the result, somehow. That was a nice hard bang by Ani Mateto, offloaded and assisted by Matthew Barker. Seemed like he just kind of walked that one in there with the trickery, deception. Great running skill, beautiful offload. Matthew Barker with the boot. Currently Currently sitting at 26-0, pending conversion attempt for a possible 2 more points on the board. Flags go up. Ball straight down the slot. Straight down the slot. 28-0. Triton have the lead. Solid kick by St. John's. Taken out of the air by Von Sturman. He's got the fancy feet going for him. Running, taking it clear back down. That was about 35 meters gained on that. Elliott Finn, take that into contact, went down, offloaded, Zachary shot. Good hard run for an extra 10 meters there. Matthew Barker spins that one out to Ani Mateto, who offloads it to Richard Felton to keep the play alive. Who gets it to Elliott Finn, who's gonna run that straight into contact and get whipped down. Matthew Barker with the dummy pass. And nice offload to Victor Wong, who's gonna work his way through a broken tackle and reach out and get the points. 5 more on the board for the Tritons. Sent at 33-0, pending conversion attempt. Great try by Victor Wong, but that was a team effort there. That ball touched half the team before it was tackled. That was a great phase by the Tritons. Matthew Barker with another 2 points for the Tritons. 35-0, Tritons lead. St. John's are running up quick on this one. Or the kicker is. Solid kick by St. John's. Offload on the inside with an incredible stiff arm by Kamani McQueen. And a couple great broken tackles. And then Richard Felton is going to show his wheels. He's going to offload to Ani Mateto, who got that ball to Kamani McQueen, who is all over the field right now. Settled eventually. Nathan Heath with the scoop there. Logan Atkinson on the wing, getting that ball passed out to him. Cuts back inside, gets a try of his own. Snowball's rolling downhill right now, and we got a 40-0 lead, pending conversion attempt. This ball is placed quite wide on the field. Matthew Barker's got a good solid kick ahead of him today. Thankfully the weather's a little bit nicer. The wind's not blowing nearly as much. The ice is kind of cleared off the field other than those sweet jerseys the Tritons are putting on today. Matthew Barker with the boot. And that ball was short. It's going to be 40-0. That ball did not travel the 10 meters required. Giants are going to elect for a scrum down at center field. Another great scrum by the Tritons. Got that ball out, but it was mishandled in the backfield. It's going to be a scrum down awarded to St. John's at about midway still. A massive push by the Tritons. Spun the scrum. It's going to be a re-scrum to St. John's.
Isolation!
Okay. I'm not even going to try to explain whatever the hell that call was. Scrum down to St. John's, apparently. My apologies, I did just discover what it was. The original scrum was spun. Possession stayed with St. John's. Iowa Central had it. That's why it was called that. That's why it was called St. John's. It was actually their scrum to begin with. I was very, very confused for a moment there. Potentially dangerous play. Stopped immediately, thankfully. Player was ran into contact, low tackle. Eventually just kind of got raised up there. Nothing malicious. One of those things that just happens, and thankfully it gets stopped before it gets escalated. Good on the serve for blowing that one dead immediately. Again, player safety is the #1 concern at all times on the field. St. John's attempted to spin the ball out to their back line. Oh, that's going to be... That's most likely going to be a yellow card, at least, against Logan Atkinson. He knew immediately. The whole place knew immediately. That was very dangerous. Thankfully, he didn't finish that. First contact was made. He wasn't ripped down. He wasn't nothing like that. He let go as soon as he could. But it was still an error. Nonetheless, the Tritons will be down a man, 14-on-15, for the next 10 minutes of this match. Good call by the sir there. That ball was overthrown and eventually scooped up by St. John's. Scrum down awarded to Iowa Central for the minor infraction there committed by the St. John's. Just an offload that went astray. Back to gameplay here. Great hands work getting it to the backfield. Great run by Ani Mateto all the way down the sideline. He was tracked pretty well by a St. John's player. Matthew Barker with a good sneaky play right off the ruck. Dots it down for another 5 points for the Tritons. It's 45-0 pending conversion attempt. That was a great play all around there. Good awareness. Quick ball out of the ruck. This ball is literally on the touchline. This is as wide as a kick can get. Matthew Barker with a boot. The wind drew that one short, but it was on target. Substitution coming on for Iowa Central. Bobby is coming in for Connor Luttrell. Connor Luttrell had a good day. Solid effort on the field. Did his job well for a hooker. Not releasing the ball penalty against Iowa Central. St. John's were awarded with the penalty. About center of the field. Kick for touch was successful by St. John's. We're going to have a St. John's line out after the penalty, then the kick. The line out is at about the 20-meter line. A very good contest by Iowa Central. Vanya Sturm in the front there again. He's been in the way all day for Iowa Central. A box kick for Richard Felton from inside the 22. Okay, apparently the sir is saying it wasn't inside the 22. I don't know. I don't know what the call is. That ball also well contested by Vanya Sturm in front, but it was slapped back towards the St. John's side. He's going to call a penalty for bridging over, even though the man was clearly not bridging over as he supported his own weight with the hands on the ball. It's going to be a penalty to St. John's. Again, I'm sure they will kick for touch. Again. Going to have another line out to St. John's again. That ball was cleanly stolen by Vanya Sturm. And as it was spun out to the back line, there was a mishandle. St. John's did scoop it up. St. John's are knocking on the door for the first real attempt at a try today. Let's see what the Tritons can do on the goal line here. Apparently a diving over penalty against Iowa Central. Fortunately, there are a couple players on the ground for St. John's right now. Thankfully, they're okay. They're up. The sir is having another talk with the Iowa Central captain about something he didn't like on the Iowa Central side. Substitution for the Iowa Central Tritons. Caleb Maroy coming on for Zachary Schott. Zachary Schott did a fantastic job playing lock today. Did his job very well, made some great tackles when they were needed. And of course the scrums were magnificent. St. John's knocking on the door. Trions are answering by slamming it back in their face. That was a great steal. Great steal by the Tritons on the goal line. Ani Mateto got the ball. Great offload to Richard Felton. Tiptoe on the sideline. He's going to kick it to the center for Ben Holman to scoop up. He gets caught before the try line. What a fantastic defensive stand by the Tritons. And led to flipping the field. We are now going to have a scrum down to St. John's at the 5-meter line of St. John's. That was incredible work by everybody on the goal line for Iowa Central. I kid you not, they were inches, and I mean inches away from a try, and the field is now flipped in favor of the Tritons. A huge push by the Tritons. Huge push by the Tritons. Back St. John's up, clear back. That ball came out of the scrum in the try zone and dotted down for 5 more points for your Iowa Central Tritons. What a dramatic turn of events. It's 50-0, 50-0. Richard Felton appears to be taking over kicking duties. See if he could slot this one for 2. It went wide. 50-0 is this current score. Butters. Knock on the kickoff. Manu Queen requesting the ball pre-kickoff. They kicked it right to him. Just hit him in the chest. Bounced right off. Another huge push by the Tritons, but that ball was picked out by the 8-man for St. John. Penalty for, I don't know, the scrum was in the way. I'm not sure if that was a high tackle or not, but I think that was a call. Kick for touch by St. John's. We're going to have a line out by St. John's. Another line out, well contested by Vanya Sturm. But that ball did go out of bounds off of Iowa Central. It will be a St. John's line out again. Another well-contested line out, being muffed around a little bit right now, eventually scooped up by St. John's. Coulter Johnson just subbed on and immediately made his impact known. A mishandle by St. John's, scooped up by Jabari Leopold. That ball was ran down the sideline by Ani Mateto, offloaded Richard Felton, who tried to offload it to another Triton player, but it was picked out of the air by a St. John's player. Gervini got in there, disrupted the play, knock on by St. John's at that mark where he made a great hit. And it will be a scrum down to Iowa Central. That scrum was well run. Taken into contact by Ani Mateto with another run down the sideline. It was actually a pretty good tackle by a St. John's player to bring him down in the open field, but the ruck was won by Iowa Central. Matthew Barker with a dummy pass, a fake handoff, and a try. Looking like 55-0. Pending conversion attempt here. Richard Felton with the kick attempt. It's good. 2 on the board for the Tritons. 57-0 is the total right now. Player appeared to be offsides. No call, play on. Penalty awarded to Iowa Central here for what appeared to be an offsides call. Kick and a touch. Iowa Central line out. About the 50-meter line here. Great line out. Recovered by Vanya Sturm. A deep ball out to Mike Wilden, who's tiptoeing around the defense currently. Matthew Barker with the kick into touch to end the match here. That's the end of the game, folks. Sitting at 57-0, Iowa Central as your Minnesota Rugby Union Tier 1 NSCRO champions. Great victory by the Trojans today.
That's how you do it. I come from.
See if we can get an interview with one of the assistant coaches, Michael Hurst here. How you feeling today, Chef?
Cold.
Cold. He's
Hungry.
cold.
Cold and hungry, but hungry for more wins. Solid performance by the boys. Thanks, Minnesota, for hosting us, and we're on to bigger and better games. Looking forward to it. So, go Tritons.
Well said by a man who usually has many words, but very few for the end of the day. Victory by the Trojans today, 57-0.